Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Damon K. Jones here, and welcome to the Health Mindset Monday Mindset, where we discuss spirituality, we discuss health, we discuss well-being. And tonight, we're going to follow through when talking about mother and father wounds and how it is so important for men and women to analyze themselves, to do shadow work, to look in their past and see how growing up, whether you were living with your mother or living with your father or living with both parents, how mother and father wounds affect us as adults. And it's very important in the Black community because we're going on 20 to almost 30 years of single parents, children being born out of wedlock at around 70%. It's 80% now. So for the last 3 decades, more and more and more children have been born to out of wedlock parents. And with all the modern BS that people are talking, we should have our mothers and fathers together in the house with our children. That's the stance I'm going to stand on. And let me tell you, I was a single parent and I had custody of my son, and I raised my son all the way up to high school, and I made mistakes as a parent. I was a single child, and it was a struggle for my mother to raise a man. It's a struggle for a woman to raise a man. I don't care what some women say. I'm the mother and the father. No, you're not the mother and the father. You are the mother. Every child, a boy and a girl, needs their fathers as well as they need their mothers. And if we don't change our attitude towards this, we will continue to create mother and father wounds. And a lot of times they say the issues that adults have were unresolved problems when they were children. And then that goes on into relationships. So we'll be right back, and we're going to have a great discussion. See you in 2. Again, I'm Damon K. Jones, and this is the Health Mindset Monday Mindset. And tonight we're discussing the impact of childhood mother and father wounds on Black men's healthy relationships and marriage. Healing from mother and father wounds is a courageous and transformative journey that many Black men embark on some point of their lives. For men who have experienced the emotional scars left by mother and father wounds, the path to recovery can be particularly challenging. These wounds can impact various aspects of a man's life, from relationships to self-worth and emotional well-being. This show, we will outline steps to help Black men navigate the complex terrain of healing and self-discovery. By acknowledging the wounds, seeking professional guidance, and embracing self-care and self-compassion, Black men can embark on a journey towards emotional healing, resilience, and personal growth. While each person's healing process is unique, these steps provide a framework for initiating a journey towards a more fulfilled and authentic life. Growing up with a parent that doesn't treat you well can be challenging to recognize. This is especially true when mothers treat their sons as spouses, as they often don't realize the harm that they're causing. In such environments, children learn to take on various responsibilities at a young age because nobody properly cares for them. If you were a son and your mother treated you as if you was her husband, you may find this topic relevant. I want to explore tonight how some mothers treat their sons like husbands and creates lasting mother wounds in Black men. We also will explore tonight justifications that some women may use to treat their sons as husbands. However, it's crucial to understand that this behavior has no justification, regardless of how rational it may seem. Mothers who are alone. If a mother is left to raise her child after a separation or loss of a spouse, she may unintentionally burden her oldest child with the responsibilities as she grapples with her loneliness. The child is left with no choice of taking on these responsibilities to gain his mother's approval or feeling worthless. Immature mothers. Some mothers never fully mature and never intend to become parents. Their children feel responsible for making their mother happy, acting older than their age to meet her demands. Mothers who detest men. Some women harbor intense animosity towards males, which may stem from their inability to form a meaningful relationship with men. They may only accept their sons if they can be helpful to them, and they see them as inferior, and they talk to them with disrespect and disregard because of their hatred towards men. Codependent mothers. Codependent mothers fear being alone, leading them to tolerate unhealthy relationships and seek emotional support from their sons. This can make their son feel both overprotected and inadequate. Intimate relationships. Emotional incest occurs when the roles between the parent and child are reversed, and the child is forced into a caretaking role for the mother. This often happens in narcissistic mothers, leading children to believe that this behavior is normal, causing emotional harm and affecting future relationships. Mothers that emasculate their sons. In some cases, single mothers may unintentionally undermine their son's confidence and sense of masculinity. This process is often referred to emasculation. It can have detrimental effect on a Black boy's development. Emasculation is described as this. We're going to talk about because a lot of women do this to their sons, some consciously and some unconsciously. Some mothers restrict natural interests. Some single mothers hinder their sons' natural gravitation towards a typical boyish activity, such as rough sports and energetic play. I've seen mothers be upset with a football coach or a coach of a sports team telling them that they're being too hard on their sons. Sometimes, sisters, you just got to sit back and let the coach deal with the team and deal with your son, because he has to overcome the situations that the coach put him in to toughen him up, to make him a young man and give him discipline. Negative reinforcement. Consistently scolding, condemning, yelling, and screaming at the boy can erode his self-confidence over time. We see some mothers talk to their boys in disrespectful ways, like they are not even human. And just because they're a child, they talk to them like they're talking to a grown man. This is not good, sisters, when you do this. Domineering behavior. Being an overbearing or controlling mother not only bruises a boy's male ego, but can also affect his sense of male identity, potentially conditioning him to become passive or timid. If you got a passive man, if you got a timid man, you're creating, the women are creating these type of men. 80% of Black children born out of wedlock. So these are the children that we're creating if you're doing these things, sister. And for men, you need to recognize if you did go through these things. Modeling emotional responses. If a boy frequently witnesses his mother crying or having temper tantrums, he may learn to respond to life challenges that pressure him in similar manner. You are teaching him how to respond like a woman, not like a man, like a woman. So these actions are unintentional by single mothers, but they also can have a profound impact on their son's esteem. No, these actions are unintentional, I hope, by a mother, but it also can have a profound impact on a Black boy's self-esteem and development, and potentially leading to long-term developments. These type of mother wounds begin at a young age, and unfortunately, they're also seen in some marriages. However, it can also be learned or generational behavior. Understanding these dynamics can be the first step towards addressing and healing from the effects of these type of relationships. It is important, sisters, to have role models if the father is not around, to have male role models. And it's also important, sisters, to make sure that your son is in sports, martial arts, these type of activities that create discipline, self-awareness, self-discipline, character and behavior and proper behavior in your son. You know, as I said earlier, my mother became a widow when I was 4 years old. But one thing she did do for me, she kept me in sports, from dad's club, from football to baseball to basketball, football, baseball to basketball, all year round, martial arts. And then she had older men that she worked with when she used to work for IBM come pick me up and hang out. So I saw what a man was supposed to be and what a man was supposed to do. Now, granted, not all of them were perfect, but they were men. Sisters, nowadays, y'all allowing your child to just sit in front of a TV and watch TV and play video games, and he's never around any men. And then y'all think that's cute. No, it's not cute. And you need to watch how you talk about a young man's father in front of him. You think that's cute. That's not cute. You're doing damage to your child. And if you're doing it intentionally, then you need to let the child stay with his father. when you burden your child with your problems because you don't have a life, you ain't got no man, and your son is your husband, you know what you create for him? You create the Superman complex. When he gets into relationships, he always want to save somebody. And a lot of times when young boys grow up to be men and they get into those Superman complex, they're always saving the wrong woman. They're always getting used and abused by a wrong woman because they feel they need to save all these women that they get in relationships with. And that's stemming from mother wounds. See, a lot of women would like to say there's no good men out here, but the fact of the matter is, sister, for the last 30 years, children born out of wedlock has been over 80%, and you've been raising no good men. You're part of the blame. The man's part of the blame too. I'm getting ready to get into that. But you're just as bad because you're doing a lot of these things to these young men. And you want to say, no, I'm not doing it. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And then these men grow up all messed up. And then we as men, we don't recognize going to get counseling. Some of us don't even have the proper insurance to get it. So we have to start looking at that, because more and more and more and more and more we're having unwedded children, children born out of wedlock. And now it's become a fad that women rather be a baby mama than being a wife. I'm going to leave that right there. So let's look at the father wounds. Brothers, I'm not letting you off this, because it takes two to have a child. And if you're responsible enough to have sex with a woman unprotected, you should be responsible enough to be a father. Now, what is the reaction to a young black man to an emotionally absent and isolated father? They have prolonged adolescence. Sons with emotionally distant fathers risk spending a significant portion of their adult lives stuck in the adolescent stage. Why? Because they lack adult mentors to guide them into adulthood. While the importance of the female role models is acknowledged, sons often look to their fathers as embodying manhood. So if you're not around, who's showing him what a man is about? If you're not around, if you pop up on Christmas and his birthday with a gift that probably ain't worth nothing. Now, I'm not talking to the good ones, I'm talking to the bad ones. Steel sharpens steel. And that's the only way a man is going to know how to be a man, is around men. There's no other way. They have to be around men. He has difficulty forming close relationships. In general, Sons with emotional, unavailable fathers struggle to maintain strong connections with friends, family, and even romantic partners. They may question their self worth and wonder why they always encounter relationship problems. These sons yearn for the reassurance that their fathers never provided, leaving them with unresolved emotional issues. This is why fathers are so important. They balance their sons' emotions as they grow up and they give them direction on how to handle their emotions. Here we go, another one. Encouragement to keep emotions hidden. Society has traditionally expected men to keep their emotions and motivations private, even as the concept of fatherhood evolves. Silent men have often been accepted without question. However, when they are taught to suppress their emotions, it can have detrimental effects on their mental health. Emotionally distant fathers convey this message to their sons, leading them to develop emotional difficulties that they view as being usual and normal. Increase in activity. Compared to young men with involved fathers, those raised without paternal involvement are nearly twice as likely to be idle. Leading a fulfilling life involves pursuing activities aligned with one's values and goals. Without the guidance of an emotional, acceptable father, sons are at a higher risk of engaging in unhealthy, harmful behaviors. When you're absent from your son also struggles with controlling anger. An emotionally aware father understands that helping his son manage difficult emotions is essential for a healthy development. Without this guidance, son may no, without this guidance, sons may resort to anger as an outlet of their frustration and low self-esteem. The unresolved emotions can erupt later in life, causing issues. Part of the crime, let me explain something, fellas. Part of the crime and violence in our community with young people is because they don't have fathers emotionally present. Now, let me explain something. You could be present, but not all times you could be emotionally present. I get it. Some fathers, I made this mistake young, just about the money, working all mad overtime, just about the money. Long as the bills is paid, long as there's money in the bank, long as the kids got the fresh Jordans, long as the kids got the fresh clothes, long as all that, everything is good. Nope, it's not. It's not. Because you might be there with material things, but you're not there with his emotional well-being as he developed into a young black man. He needs that. He needs that. Hmm? Risk taking, anxiety, and sadness. When you are emotionally detached from your son, it can lead to adverse outcomes, including anxiety, sadness, risk taking behaviors. Reflecting on your relationship with your father may shed these patterns if you're watching. Now, we have to, and that's the thing. Kids are wilding out because they're not emotionally attached to their father, to their source. So they're not emotionally attached to the community. And this is why it's easy for them to shoot and kill their brother down the street or on the next block. It's easy for them to rob a car from rob money from grandma and rob a car and rob a store. And you see kids running down and they knocking just stuff over on the street because they are emotionally detached from society because they have not been taught that by their father. And it comes out even in relationships. They're emotionally attached. They can't have a proper relationship with a woman. It's just sex. Then they got 9 kids because they're just emotionally detached. 9 kids, 9 baby mamas who probably, and them baby mamas probably had mother and father wounds themselves. Because this is the generation that we are developing in 2024. Because we're thinking about ourselves. Feeling unworthy. Many emotional distant fathers convey the message, you're not good enough. You know why? Because you're never around, you're never taking care of them, you're never messing with you're never playing ball, you're never taking them to the movies, you're never doing anything. Sons need help to gauge their performance and worth, constantly seeking validation that they rarely receive. This pervasive feeling of inadequacy can persist throughout life. These are wounds that a young Black man will never feel worthy. See, and when a man does not feel worthy, he can't live up to his divine potential of being a man. Pursuit of perfection. Sons of emotionally distant fathers often need to be perfect in all aspects of life to gain their father's approval. This obsession with perfection can suffocate them, preventing them from appreciating their efforts and feeling content with being competent rather than being perfect. Again, without role models, a man suffering from unresolved mother and father wounds, he might skip crucial stages in his adolescence and transition directly into manhood, but thinking like a man boy. And see, and this is why we got a lot of man boys out here. And sisters are upset because they're not getting men, they're getting man boys. And then all men's are dogs. So when do we have the conversation that we have to break the cycle? Because y'all are having babies by man boys. And then you're creating the cycle again. It's important for men to do shadow work before they get into serious relationships, and especially having children. See, it's unfortunate that it took me to get to 55 to understand it, because even the men I was around wasn't saying this. But now it's my responsibility to tell young men and some older men, you have to do shadow work. And what do I mean by shadow work? What is your shadow? Your shadow is a reflection of you. So you have to look into your shadow, look into your past, and see if you was inflicted with mother and father wounds. When you do that, that's self-love and it's self-discovery in being a man. That's what it is. So what are the steps? What are the steps that we need to do? We need to do to address if we have challenges of mother and father wounds. First thing, we have to recognize the wound. The first significant step towards healing is acknowledging that your parents' actions were hurtful and made you feel uncomfortable. Sometimes it takes observing other families to realize that something is wrong with your own. Absolutely. You may also notice symptoms of a paternal wound in your life, such as feeling constantly inadequate, experience severe self doubt, and needing excessive control or encountering repeated personal crisis. Connecting with your inner child is essential to confront this pain. Permit yourself to accept the past, allowing your inner child to experience their emotional needs and feelings. Consider keeping a journal to facilitate this process. As you delve into these emotions, it's typical for guilt and shame to surface. Set boundaries and seek therapy. To recover from mother and father wounds, it's crucial to establish boundaries and seek therapy. Look for a therapist specializing in attachment trauma, mindfulness medication, trauma, post traumatic stress disorder, and boundary setting. These boundaries are like your personal standards, what you need as a child, what you won't tolerate from others, and what you won't compromise regarding your emotional, physical, and spiritual well-being. Even if you were raised to believe that your needs were necessary, you can defend yourself as an adult. Cultivate self-awareness. Developing self-awareness is the next healing phase from your mother and father wounds, from affecting your life in the future. Cultivate curiosity about your actions, words, and emotions. Ask questions about their origins, alignment with your identity and aspirations, and whether they benefit or harm you. These mother and father wounds often neglect their desires and put others first. It's vital to explore your needs non judgmentally and learn to prioritize yourself. Self care. Repairing your inner child is essential, as you may not receive the care that you needed. It's normal to experience sadness, anger, grief during this process, but be patient with yourself and treat yourself kindly as you navigate this healing journey. Recognize and embrace the pain stemming from the lack of support and acceptance from your mother or father. Learn to love yourself in the way your parents couldn't. Learn to love yourself in a way your parents couldn't, and be compassionate and honest with yourself, especially during self doubt or mistakes. Connect to your spiritual self. When you connect to your spirituality, it can be transforming and a journey for Black males drawing upon our deep culture of spirituality. This connection provides invaluable support and guidance, paving the way for emotional, psychological, and spiritual healing. This bond empowers Black men to confront their past, extend forgiveness, and embark on a transformative path towards self discovery and overall healing. We also must strive for forgiveness. As I always said, forgiveness is your superpower. You cannot hold your parents accountable for their actions. It's essential to consider the circumstances that they had when you was a child. There are factors like poverty, substance abuse, domestic violence, illness, mental health issues might have affected their ability to provide a safe and loving environment. Try to reflect on your parents' early years and challenges they face. Understanding how they transferred their wounds to you And this has to lead to forgiveness, not for the mistreatment, but how their pain influenced your life. The purpose of forgiveness is to facilitate your healing and free yourself from your parents' harmful influence. It doesn't necessarily mean resuming a relationship with them or being buddy buddy with them, but you need closure in your personal growth. A lot of times we hold on to this grudge, and it doesn't hurt the people that hurt us. It just hurts ourselves when we can't forgive. We have to be able to forgive. It is our superpower, man. It helps us heal. It helps us move on. It helps us be better people. So, what we talked about tonight is meant to guide and help Black men, but is also help to guide Black parents. So we will understand that what we do as parents when they're young affects them when they become an adult. And sometimes we get into parenting and we never had an example of a good parent. We get into being a father and we never had an example of a father. We become a mother and we never had an example of a good mother. We don't have shows like The Cosby Show, which shows a Black family, right? We're the Jeffersons, Good Times. They show shows that we're gangsters and all type of silly nonsense that's on TV to keep us distracted. But above all, we have to be kind to ourselves. Brother, you deserve the love, care, and healing that you seek. If you're taking meaningful steps toward a brighter, more authentic future by acknowledging your wounds and going to seek professional help, nurturing self-care and cultivating self-compassion, and also eating right and exercising, you are on the right path. Remember, brother, you're not alone in this journey. Reach out to supportive friends, family members, or a therapist who can provide guidance and empathy. You can rewrite your narrative and build a healthier, more fulfilling relationship as you grow and heal by the grace of God. With determination, self-acceptance, and a commitment to your well-being, you, brother, can emerge from the shadows of the past and step into the future defined by your resilience, self-love, and the promise of a more authentic and fulfilling spiritual manhood. You have the power to do it, brother. Thank you for listening for the impact of childhood wounds on Black men's healthy relationships and marriage. And I hope that you got something out of this today. And next week, we're going to delve into a comprehensive self-care guide for Black men. That's going to be on Wednesday. On Thursday, we're going to talk about health and wellness, and it's going to be living an alkaline lifestyle to benefit your longevity. Black Love Friday, and we're going to talk about, sisters, we're going to talk about, are you Miss Independent or Miss Peace of Mind? Are you Miss Independent or Miss Peace of Mind? So thank you again, and make sure you go to Amazon. My book is out now, The Book of Black Love, and one of the chapters, are you Miss Independent or Miss Peace of Mind? We're going to talk about it out the chapter of The Book of Black Love. The link will be in the description. And thank you again, and may you have a black-tastic day. And remember, as always, God is in your vegetables. Peace out.